people do have the right to protest. I know that it's like Zionism, that's like people are trying to fight against and not actually, Jewish people.
What are you afraid might happen?
Violence.
Did you ever wonder how much the Palestine protests actually cost to police? Well, according to the Jewish Chronicle, the Met Police have spent over £57 million on policing these protests, and that's just in London. So I'm here to ask people what they would do with that kind of money. We're chatting to people today about the protests that take place in London, the Palestine protests. Are you aware of these?
Yes.
Can I ask your thoughts on them?
At this point, I just think I don't know. It's the past couple years have been very hard. I'm Jewish, making you feel very unsafe in the place where you live. I think a lot of it is misdirected, misinformed, and it's heartbreaking to watch people so easily convinced of evil, that evil is good and good is evil, and it's hard.
How much money do you think the Met Police has spent on policing the protests?
Oh, wow. Hundreds of thousands of pounds?
57 million.
Wow. Okay.
What would you spend 57 million pounds on to make the country better?
Healthcare, mental health services, education. I think right now that's something that's very important. A million things other than that.
Yeah. Do you think that there might be a concern that, given the protest takes so much police time and resources, is there a chance that other crime might be getting neglected?
Absolutely. I think crime, especially on a smaller scale, let's say car theft, whatever it is, like they don't pay any mind to it anymore. Also, I don't know if they're always protecting the right people in these protests, and I don't know how educated they are on what's going on, and I think that affects the outcomes of what happens at these protests. So
we're seeing a lot of anti-Semitic chants and signs at the protests. Do you think enough is being done to tackle that?
No, absolutely not. I think because they're uneducated and a lot of the officers are, just trying to do their jobs, and we can understand that, but because they don't understand how hateful and the calls for murder, for killing, the acceleration of radicalization of Western population, and these kids who are becoming radicalized by it, and these chants that are, calling for murder and death, and they're just saying like they have a right to have a voice, which is true. You're allowed to protest, you're allowed to have a voice, but are you allowed to call for death in the streets and that be acceptable? I'm not sure that should be true.
If you had £57 million to improve the country, how would you spend it?
I would put it in programs that help people to let go of anything that changed them, like addictions or bad choices, bad habits, stuff like that. A lot of people make bad choices, they make mistakes, and because of the nature of some of those mistakes, they feel trapped. Like, for example, take someone who smokes cigarettes. You think it's okay at the beginning, and then, you spend all your life maybe smoking cigarettes. So, would it be nice if somebody would be there for you when you actually want to let go of cigarettes? Right? So that would be a good use of spending money, in my opinion.
I'm for protests.
Okay. Are the protests something that you've joined or you'd consider joining?
No, I have not actually participated. Yeah, I haven't. Not. Have I wanted to? I don't really like big crowds, unfortunately. So that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of, there's a bit of fear in me as well about protesting because I don't know if it'll go one way or the other or something might happen. Do you know what I mean? Like
What are you afraid might happen?
violence. And that might lead to trouble with, I just, I stay away from anything that's
Yeah.
violent. That's why. I mean, if it's a peaceful protest, fab. I love that.
There's videos online of the protests where violence has occurred,
Yeah.
and there has been sort of destruction to property and violence between protesters and police.
Exactly.
Why do you think this has been happening?
Because people are mad and they can't control their emotions.
In addition to the violence and destruction to property, there's also been anti-Semitic chants, anti-Semitic signs.
I don't agree with that at all. 100% no. I'm one love to everybody in the world. I have no hate for anyone. And even if someone spat on me right now, I would just walk away and not say a single thing. It's not who I am as an individual. That's me. So yeah, I don't agree with any of that, any of the chants, any of the anti-Semitism. No, not me. I don't agree with that.
Do you think that the organisers have a responsibility to call this out when it's brought to their attention?
Yes, 100% they should.
How much do you think the Met Police has spent policing the protest?
50 million?
You're very close. It's 57 million. If you had 57 million pounds to spend to improve the country, how would you spend it?
Oh God, that's a tough question. I think social housing would be a start for me. That's how I do it, because there's a lot of poverty and people in need.
How much money do you think the Met Police has spent on policing them?
Oh, I bet it runs into millions. It must do.
57 million.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that more than I thought, but yeah, we've probably got to try and stop them happening in future, yeah.
What would you spend it on?
I think the poorest in the society, making sure that everyone have equal opportunities.
It's frightening, and it's literal on our doorstep as well. It's it's not a million miles from here. It's very. I'm not Jewish, but obviously my wife and my children are Jewish, so I'm obviously very concerned and worried about the situation.
How much money do you think that the Met Police has spent on policing the protests?
I'd say £4 million.
50 million?
It's 57 million that it's cost to police these protests.
Yeah. Obviously that money is huge, and it could go to many, many other good causes. But people do have the right to protest, But I do think so many people have just jumped on this bandwagon, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel as though the number wouldn't be as high if the protests were actually peaceful.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to make that comment as well. So I agree with her comment about people are entitled to protesting, but the fact that they're spending so much money is an indication that something's not quite right. That it's a lot more aggressive than what it should be. The protest is a lot more aggressive than what they should be, which obviously isn't right. So there's something wrong with the protests.
If you had 57 million pounds to spend to improve the country, what would you spend it on?
I think there's a huge problem with homelessness with veterans.
I would probably spend it on social services that would help the NHS, relieve the pressure on the hospitals and NHS in general.
How would you spend it?
I suppose investment in NHS and such sort of public services such as that.
Are you aware of the Palestine protests in London?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I ask what you make of them?
I think they're very good. Yeah, we
Yeah?
should be protesting. Yeah,
Is this protest something that you've joined already, or you consider joining?
So I haven't been on one, but my my stepdad goes on them quite frequently. I'd be down to go to one probably with like friends or something.
A lot of people have said that they're quite concerned about the anti-Semitism that's been on display at some of these protests, like signs and chants.
All I really know is about like the protests and why they're happening, but I haven't seen the negative side of anything that's going on in terms of anti-Semitism. I don't agree with anti-Semitism, and I don't believe that anti-Semitism should be happening at the protests, because I know that it's like Zionism that's like people are trying to fight against and not actually, Jewish people. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
So that's interesting. Can I ask what your definition of Zionism is?
I guess like the extremism, like the extreme against the Palestinians. That's as far as I don't know, like deep into it, but that's all I sort of know.
So what if I told you that's actually not the definition of Zionism?
Oh, okay.
The definition of Zionism is basically anyone who believes that Jews have the right to live in their ancestral homeland or their indigenous homeland, which is modern day Israel. And that doesn't mean that only Jews or to the exclusion of other people. That just means Jews have a right to live in Israel. Is that something that you would agree with?
I guess, yeah, like people have a right to live in Israel.
Including Jews?
Yeah.
And you're a Zionist.
I mean, okay, I guess.
Part of what we do is we sort of educate and raise awareness, and the fact, and I'm not blaming you, but the fact that you sort of define Zionism as something that's extreme tells me that there's a lot of misunderstanding about what Zionism is. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, that is fair enough, because all I've been seeing is like that it is extremism.
Right.
But now, like, thank you for telling me, because I didn't know that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I guess there is propaganda around that. So
There's a lot of propaganda around the term Zionism and Zionists. And I should also add that we've polled Britain's Jewish community. 80% of Britain's Jews identify as Zionists.
okay.
So when people say that Zionists or Zionism is extreme, they're talking about 80% of Britain's Jewish community. Does that sort of change things for you?
Yeah, that changes a lot. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah. It's not a word that I'll just be like saying then, because I guess like I've heard it, so I've repeated it, but I do believe that it's important for everybody to like clue themselves up on like the deeper like meaning to understand. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Now, before you go, the last thing I want to ask is the protests have been very costly for the Met Police. So since the protests started in October 2023, how much money do you think the Met Police has spent on policing them?
I have no clue.
So it's cost them £57 million to police these protests, and that's partly because they haven't all been peaceful. There's been sort of destruction to property and aggression towards police and that sort of thing. My question to you is, if you have £57 million, how would you spend it to improve the country?
It's tricky because like I do agree with protests having to happen. I don't know, because I don't want to make it out like, oh, the protests shouldn't be happening and stuff like that, but then I guess it's up to the police how they're budgeting their money. But I think that like social schemes for hospitals, schools, like that would be a much better like money spent for that. So, but I do think that the protests should be happening, so maybe it's like the amount of police needing to be discharged to them like maybe could lessen, and then that funding could go like somewhere else, that type of vibe.
So I think the issue with that type of vibe is that the police did try that, but then because there was a lot of violence and a lot of sort of destruction to property, a lot of sort of people attacking police, they need a lot of backup. And there's a lot of arrests that get made, including for support for terrorism on these protests. So a lot of police are required basically to police them. And I'm not saying the police are wrong for needing a lot of police there. I'm saying it's a very bad situation that a lot of like enough people at the protests act this way that require police to be there. So I think that the people at the protests, and certainly the organisers, should make it so that, protests are actually peaceful. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with peaceful protesting, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. So there you have it. No one guessed the full amount. Few people were close, but most were off by millions. And with all the anti-Semitism that's still there on these protests, I want to know, do you think the £57 million and counting of police money has been a good investment? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe for more.